Denise, Marlo. You are now listening to the Drunken Monks Podcast.
Back in the land, Denise.
Yo.
Back in the land, Denise. Back in the land, my dear.
Where were you then?
Ooh, wow, we're just going to jump right into it. Hey, first and foremost, the salutations. Good night, Denise.
Salutation.
Good night to everybody. My name is Marlo Brown.
Denise Faber.
We are...
Le Drunken Monks.
Le Drunken Monks. You put a little bit of French on top.
Oui.
And to answer your question, yeah, back in the land. That French is actually kind of apropos. I was in St. Martin. I was in St. Martin for like about a weekend. I was lucky enough. Me and the wife, we won a very corny thing, the Kiss Cam competition from Paradise FM, and a big shout out to Paradise, of course. A big shout out to everybody involved. So that was Maduro Travel, that was Jetia, that was Martin's Cackle. Congrats to him too, by the way, like on his twins. Yeah, but we won the contest. We won an all expenses paid trip, like weekend kind of a getaway to St. Martin, and yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
It was fun.
You got to recharge.
Yeah, man. Like, it's good. Look, it's always good to. I don't have to tell you this. You are the queen of this. Y'all ain't even know how her passport got like bent ears, y'all.
I last 2 years passport like in the.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody's passport like at that point, not unless you was like a diplomat or you had to be someplace. Sure. But yeah, but you know as well as anybody else, man. In fact, speak on it. You leave the place and you get a different perspective, if only for a moment, and things get kind of refreshed. Like your perspective gets done. Your batteries, as you say, get kind of recharged. And it was good. Like even for 2 days, just 2 days. It was.
How
really
long
good.
did you not go to St. Martin?
Ooh, before. Well, I mean, for fun, a while. But I was in St. Martin last year for family reasons, as you know. But for fun, it was like maybe 3 years, 4 years, like something like that. So it's been a while. It's been a
all right
serious while.
And do you look differently at St. Martin right now?
Yeah.
Why and what?
I do. Okay, so post Irma, I was there twice. So like I said, the first time with the family thing, and now St. Martin, to me, there's a lot of things you could debate about or whatever, but it doesn't look like it has caught itself again. There is movement, and the things are going, and life is happening, and people, they pay their taxes, they go to school, they do all the things, right? Well, as best as we could hope for. But
some people pay some taxes. Yes, so people go to school. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it definitely has an air of it hasn't recovered yet. It has an air of there's a little bit of decay that you can easily see outside of certain things. Like the hotel that we were at, absolutely, like it looked like it got like a fresh coat of paint, or it got built new or whatever. But you have to get to the hotel. Yeah. And then getting to the hotel, you have to pass in Simpson Bay, for example, and you see some of the buildings are new, some of them are not. Some of the buildings have been given love, some of them are not. And while in St. Martin, where building has always been a thing, like is always constantly trying to build something, do something or whatnot. Mm-hmm. The ratio is bad. Like at least for my eyes.
What do you mean the ratio is bad?
Like for every, like back in the day, like for every bad building or condemned building or boarded up type of building, you would have 6, 7, 8, 9 that are new or passable, or that just look like they're in use and have life. Now it's kind of 1-to-1. Now it looks like for every one building that you got good, it looks like you got one that's kind of odd. And it's not it's not one thing across the board. It's like certain areas look stronger than others. But it definitely gives me a vibe of, like it could use some love and some help. Spoke to some friends of mine who are way smarter than me that live on the island. They have their own opinions about it. And it's a little bit kind of a, like a cynical thing. But I would hope that hope would come back to the island like at some point, because despite all of that, it's still beautiful. It's still a place to be.
St. Martin will always be beautiful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like it was just fun to be back home and to see the hustle and to see, like, to hear the language and to and to see like the approach to things, and you're like, like, so if something happens, people don't get mad in one shot, like, man, don't worry about it, we're gonna work it out, we're gonna get it done, we're gonna this, we're gonna that. And that kind of like it has its bad points too, but that laissez-faire thing, it really kind of relaxes you in certain like areas. So yeah, like that was a trip. That was
All right.
What are you drinking?
I drinking a gin and tonic. We're on the Tanqueray today. An extra dash of lime, and we're rolling.
Sour. She's sour bad boy, but sour good too. Sour like a Caribbean type of woman. That's
Oh Lord.
yo, try to start with the bullshit like already, like I come back fresh.
Okay. You want to continue with the bullshit?
Yeah, man, sure.
What
Lead us into the land of wherever that you want to go.
Interesting news, or what has been in the news lately. The government is thinking or saying or researching or whatever to reopen the brothel. We used to have a brothel. It was started in the 1940s, if I'm not mistaken, for the sailors, for the guys working at Shell. There are different theories, or the theory that the government has always proclaimed, the government and the church, we needed to protect the local girls from, those sexually, how can we say it? Those horny
Evil urges.
Yes, of all this male, a lot of men came to the island.
Dicks just
to work. Americans in the Second World War, a lot of young guys for the refinery, and to stop the corruption of our local girls. The government with the church decided to open a brothel. And then now a researcher from the Netherlands, I'm not sure where she belongs. I think she's from Utrecht, but I don't know if what university or where
I was just
she's...
about to ask, like, from the university,
or is she affiliated, or if she's a private researcher. I don't know exactly. We can post some information in the comments. She was actually saying that the reason... wait, let me rewind. So the government came with a brothel, right, and the brothel was filled with foreign ladies. And the rationale was that we need to protect our local girls. Now, the lady who did the research is saying the reason the ladies were actually flown in from wherever, mostly Dominican Republic and Colombia the last couple of years. In the beginning, I'm not sure. So we saw Dominican
Definitely
Republic.
The last couple of years with the Venezuela too,
but there were not a lot of Venezuelans in Campo. The Venezuelans were mostly on the streets in the snacks.
Independent contractors.
See, maar the Dutch researchers said the reason that they had these foreign girls was because of racism. That people thought that local girls were unhygienic, were not beautiful enough, all those kind of reasons. I don't know. I haven't read the research. I don't know.
Put a pin in that one.
I don't know. We're coming right back to that one. But the last couple of years, the brothel was doing not so well. It was declining. It was no longer like it used to be a very nice place, and I've heard.
I was just about to say, like,
on Tuesdays, ladies were allowed to enter, and right. I didn't think it was a nice looking place, but I mean, I could imagine that in the early 90s or in the 50s, it looked nice. Right. But now the last couple of years, it just looks sad. Yeah. And so business started to go bad. Then there were all kind of lawsuits. And then the public prosecutor seized the brothel from the owners or from the company. Right. So there's no longer a brothel. And now the government is looking into reopening the brothel. Okay. So I would like to hear your opinion. Do we need a brothel on Curacao?
That's your first question.
Should the government be involved in this whole thing? And then you said put a pin in it about the racial
because that's a big
comment.
One.
So yeah.
No, okay. Start off big, because that's a big thing to talk about. Is that a small thing? Okay, look. First question to you to the thing, and that's the question as apropos of the day. Does the place need a brothel? I would kindly opt out of answering that for the same reason that you would when it comes to certain things. I would say more research is needed, and I ain't the man to do it. Like I'm not a
Okay.
dude, right? I could have an opinion, and my just sniff test look at it. Not so sure that a brothel is needed. Like there was thinking that came up with the brothel because it's not just here in all of the Dutch Caribbean. So Samaritan got brothels, plural. um,
Yeah.
Stacia got one. Aruba got a red light district, if I'm not mistaken.
Bonaire got one.
Right.
It was
and-
closed, but I'm thinking maybe now it opened up back.
Right. But basically, like these things were kind of taken along with how Holland did things. And Holland, for as long as I could remember in modern history, had a kind of a more liberal attitude when it comes to sex work. So it could be at least tolerated, if not legal. Or
Well, Holland had periods. The last
Yeah.
couple of years, they were, for the majority, very liberal, but there were times that Holland was very
there were times
strict.
when, all right, but Holland had its ups and downs, but compared to the rest of the world,
Yeah.
it was definitely in the Western world one of the leaders. It was held a part of Amsterdam's tourism was the red light district. So as Holland goes, as we went as well, and I could imagine that in some way, shape, or form, some thought of governance in that way trickled down to these parts as well. So that being said, does these places need a brothel? I can imagine when in the dark old times when we didn't know nothing about men, women, and how to deal or whatnot. Maybe because it's a lot easier just to pay a girl than to have to talk to her, get to know her, romance her, like that type of thing. So I can imagine that, but does that really apply today? And especially knowing what the back end of a lot of prostitution has in store. Holland, again, like how I came up, the red light district in Holland was shown as a shining beacon of female empowerment because you have these these independent contractors rent their own rooms, they pay the taxes, they take care of themselves, and it's their choice. They want to be there. Is nothing kind of forced. But we saw with all of the Peter R. de Vries exposés and whatnot that with the opening up of the borders in the European Union, a lot of mafioso came out from the Eastern blocs and they forced girls. They brought girls in and they put them to work. So there was a lot of human trafficking. Right now, prostitution and human trafficking, you can't call one without thinking on the other. Because if you say human trafficking, your first thought is, yeah, probably a little bit of prostitution. Or if you say prostitution, probably that she was human trafficking. Sorry. So do we need a brothel? Do we want a brothel? Look, I'm for free love. I'm for all of that. Not so sure that it is necessary in 2022. And especially, again...
But how do we quench the thirst of thirsty men and women?
I mean, and I'm glad you put that last part, thirsty men and women.
Of course.
We need to communicate. Are you horny? I'm horny. Are you horny? Let's go. That's basically the long and short of it. We need to be able to find a place.
But you want to cut out the whole bullshit. Time is money, so
Time
let's
is money,
go.
but-
Let's go.
but listen,
I pay you. You
but-
do whatever I want you to do.
Okay.
You're happy. I happy.
Okay.
Deuces.
So, all right. So then let me put it in a different way. I am not so sure about a centralized nexus of prostitution because definitely COVID proved that isn't necessary as well. I won't go into details, but I know anecdotally around me enough where girls did not have to trago meshes. They didn't have to be in the brothel spend and trust. It's exploitation up there. The girls normally when they come, at least how it was up until it closed here recently. They have to come in. They have to pay their way to after a fashion. They come in for about 3 months and they have to pay rent on the room that they're in.
You mean in Campo?
Right.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day is a certain amount of money. Call it $40 or something like that.
No,
right?
more.
Right. But you need to make that nut. And I freely admit I've been to Campo. Just like anybody else, just like any group, you got like the superstars and you got like the ones that ain't quite doing too well.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine if you're one of those that can't quite make rent every time. Yeah, Dread. It is exploitation that is going on. As opposed to I come here on vacation, I hang out at a bar, I have my WhatsApp, I can keep it discreet, maybe double check myself at GGD like every so often, like I want to so have a family member or like a friend or whatnot so that has an extra room. I use the room or not even use the room. I mean, it's dangerous, but you go with the dude to wherever that he wants to go, whatever. But it's easily a lot cheaper than having to actually deal through the apparatus of what Campo used to be, right? And that's even keeping out to the fact that, again, it was a lot of mafioso around in that sphere. You check what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To bring that back, are you going to make sure that that doesn't happen as well? That there's no kind of spin-off of crime and human trafficking and all those things. Like, how much are you going to regulate? And in Hoovera, do you want to play the moral guide for a place of sin? And what kind of look does that bring to like as well? Like, it's a lot of quagmire.
A place of sin.
Yeah.
That
Quote,
is,
unquote.
is problematic.
Quote, unquote. Like me and you don't think like that is what I'm thinking, but
yeah,
that's what it would be called. You check what I mean, like a place of sin, like
yeah.
But I give it to you because I want to give you the point of the girls, local girls, not being pretty enough.
No,
or unhygienic. Are you serious, man?
I have nothing to say.
Word? You ain't got nothing to go in with that?
No, I need to read this woman's thing. Okay, it is. I was thinking it's very colonial of me and very whatever. I was whitewashed, or I don't know what the word is.
Right.
For me to doubt this statement. Excuse me.
Like,
Because the lady is saying the reason that they flew in girls from other places is because of this racial ideas. And I am not convinced without further reading or so that was really the reason. But on the other hand, but then I was like, yeah, but is that just me being brainwashed that I cannot believe that it was that way?
No, but I mean, look, I could tell you plain. Almost every guy that I grew up with or came up with or hang with or whatever, and definitely of like a local slant, lighter is better, straighter hair is always nice, long hair is always nice.
That's true.
And there was like a monomyth created around the Spanish woman, like the Latina. Like she, like it is like two sides. Like she will treat you like a king. She, like, if she loves you or likes you or whatever,
but she can take all your dinero.
Correct is right. Like, she will also cut your throat when it comes to finances and whatnot, because you're not her end goal. You are just a step. You are, oh boy.
Marlo was complaining about not being windy,
and all of a sudden it got kind of windy, like in one shot.
We're in Quaresma, which is the windy season.
Right.
Okay, so if things start to fall down and we are screaming or running, then something happened because of the wind. Don't worry,
we're gonna put up a little, like due to technical difficulties and a little, like a kind of like a siren or something.
But yeah, you were explaining about the ideal of the.
I know colorism affects sex and attraction down here like big time. It does. To hear it, it sounds right. I'm not saying it is right, but it sounds right.
Yeah, it's plausible.
Right.
But would the government go? Yeah, well, it was a colonial government, so yeah, I would say, would the government go down that alley? Yeah, probably, yeah.
No, but I don't know, dude. I mean, but who wants to touch? Where are you going to find the girls to populate the place? That is the question, because if you go, like there are old infrastructures in place, there are old pipelines and whatnot, so people still got their Rolodexes and they know who to contact and which kind of recruiter to find.
Yeah.
So you have do you rely on those, or do you just go from, okay, we're gonna open a brothel, but we have Me Too kind of sensibilities?
I mean, you mean in this day and age,
right?
Okay.
How in the hell do you even start that?
No, to me, I want to say that sex work to me is not per definition wrong. I don't think it's per definition human trafficking, and it is, as you explained, a lot of the times behind the scenes there is exploitation, there is force, there are all these elements of human trafficking, and that should be banned. And I think indeed Holland was one of the first one who was proclaiming these are entrepreneurs and these are women who know what they want and they're doing what they want. But we know that behind the scenes, the reality was different, and Marlo explained that. But to me, like I say, sex work per definition is not bad, not wrong. No. If somebody, male, female, or whatever other gender there may be, wants to do sex work and does it freely, I say go right ahead. But indeed, to have it state sanctioned or state, they're speaking of a gedogenbeleid. So basically, it's not legal or not completely legal, but we'll do like this so you can do it. I think that a government should stay away from, in any case, establishment. I don't know. No. Rewind. I think the government has a role to play, because I think.
So what's that role?
I think the working conditions should be safe. Right. So it should be, so the establishment where the girls or boys are should be gewoon safe. This safe as in from criminal elements, but also safe as in hygienic and health. And I think so the girls or the workers should be protected. And I think you could have these sex businesses, these sex clubs or these sex places where sex work happens, but those need to be regulated. And I don't mean that the government owns the places. I don't mean that the government sets the rules, but the government should put the framework in which you can operate. The government should say, if you have such, you will get a vergunning, you will get a permit to run a place where people can rent a room. You can basically a hotel where
but wait. So I never thought I would hear myself say this, but I find, like, I'm with you with the idea of that, but the practicalities of it, like, I see a lot of at the very least perpendicular wants. Because on the one hand, and you just kind of demonstrated that, like, on the one hand, you want, by verbal, the government to be hands-on in certain areas or certain things, because you need to be hands-on to guarantee safety and this and that and one and so. But on the other hand, it, like, you want it to be kind of like so as well, and you can't be half in and out.
No, but I mean
those things. Like,
no, I like what I think should happen is the women should be and the men should be independent workers, or what do you say, contractors? Right. They should be entrepreneurs. So they should get a permit, like every business, like a ZZP'er or zelfstandige, or right. in our case maybe an eenmanszaak. Right. Like, it should have a legal entity, because you're providing services. So that is part that the government regulates, because the government makes permits, right? And then I'm saying I'm not for a brothel. It's not a nice term, but I'm not for a sex house in that sense. But I'm thinking more of those sex clubs that you have in Europe, that people, not sex workers and clients, but people can go to those clubs and to do whatever their business is. Right. In that whatever they want to do.
So it's more like a safe zone. It's more like a safe zone, and whatever happens there.
Yeah, and so you have people who are not sex workers, but you might have a sex worker in there. Because a sex worker who's an independent contractor or a entrepreneur, hoe je het ook wil noemen. Right. She can say, okay, I have my business, it's Luscious Denise. And you can call and then you call me, we make an appointment. That's your name, by the way. We make an appointment, and then inderdaad, waar gaan we het doen? Are we going to a hotel? Do I have a little room in my yard? Or are we going to meet in the sex club?
Right. So and then in the sex club, you're like free from prosecution if there's a raid or something like that, or
And the sex club is just like another. It's just like another business. You
Right.
have rules how to, like, for example, constantly our Ministry of Economic Affairs is doing raids and they're checking all kind of things.
Mhm.
So there is a list. Like, there has to be proper ventilation. There has to be ways to clean the
wash
rooms.
them sheets every hour.
Rules just to keep the business safe. Like I said,
sanitary.
Yeah,
like sanitary and whatnot.
but indeed, in talking and in you reacting, I realize that it's very difficult to do. But I feel that if there is,
but I could put one in front of you right now to show, and not to trip you up. Like, I'm not trying to. For once, I'm not trying to argue with you. Imagine this, right? You want to keep out the criminal element because mafia and prostitution also go hand in hand. This is something that's gone way back when, right? But you want to keep the mafia element away. So how could you do that? Or at least like a criminal like element, practically speaking. You either have eyes on the ground at all times, or you have electronic eyes on the ground at all times.
But even if you have eyes on the ground, whatever, electronic or actual eyes, I don't think you'll be able to see that because there are ways to circumvent.
Right, but at the very least, you know that that's a known person of a particular like groupering or organization, and he's here every Saturday at 8:00, and he seems to have an overcoat, and there seems to be something exchanging. So eyes on the ground helps to at least deter that. But here's the problem: eyes on the ground also means that discretion is also gone. Because the guys that want to go there, most of them, they got a couple of perverts like myself that don't really give a fuck. But you got a lot of dudes that go and they kind of want to be under the radar. They just want to get in and out and whatnot. And especially if you have a higher standing in the community, if you part of the Rotary Club, you use the president of the Lions Club, this and the third, you ain't trying to get your snapshot taken with, Rosa of the week. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, so there's like perpendicular things, and that's just one thing that I can think of. More to the point, like, how do you make sure as a government, like I said, how do you make sure that there's no foul play in the verving and selexy of the people that are coming to work in these places? How do you make sure by Vorbild that that you're not picking like any kind of winners? So who gets the bid, for example, to operate the place? What's the vetting process? Has there been one in the past? Who does what? This is new-ish territory because these things have always gone on since time immemorial, and so we've never had to think about it. But now we got to think about it, and the rules have changed.
But okay, so you would propose no government interference?
I would propose a mechanism for self-governance as best as possible. And for me, that would look like this, right? By Vorbild. And I'm not saying this is what needs to be done. I'm just, this is a random thought like off the top of my head. You can't frequent these places unless you buy into a client centrale iets, weet je? So by Voorbeeld, to get an Uber, you need the Uber app, right? Mm-hmm. And the Uber driver could rate you as much as you could rate the Uber driver.
Even, what happens to the president of the Lions and the outstanding member of the Rotary?
Now, like I said, it's a weird idea, but I'm just showing you like a way to be able to counteract bad actors. So like, if homeboy wants to get a piece of pussy, you need to go through this way. And in going through this way, if girl 1, girl 2, girl 3, and girl 4 all give you a 1 star and say, yeah, that he likes to beat you up, he likes to rape, he likes to this, he likes to that, all of a sudden it's self kind of regulating. Like you look at the app and you be like, all right, you know what? No, not you. Like whatever. You check what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I wonder about the anonymity that clients often want or need will be gone. And okay, I can do it on a pseudonym. I can take another name.
Right.
But somewhere the link between my pseudonym and my real name will be made.
Nathaniel Huggins.
Hey, still in my phone up to this day. But it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah.
It's dude. We ain't gonna get no answers, and I would even propose this because we're close to time. Let's go into the other segment because this apparently has borne fruit more than we actually realized. Because we haven't even, because we're like talking about the logistical side and what the nuts and bolts might look like. Again, that statement about the girls not being pretty enough or kiku, I want to get into that.
All right.
Because
okay. 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 Wait, before we go to break, I think it is really important to say because we were talking and I was trying to explain myself while talking, thinking and talking and you're
talking and trying to bring it up
because you make valid points and I'm trying to work those points in so that we could have something. But again, to me, sex work is not. I think we should.
There's no shame in it.
No, we should decriminalize and destigmatize sex work. But it is a sector that is very, very, very prone to exploitation, abuse. To force, to abuse. Yeah. So it's very difficult to say yes or no. Right. You always have to look at the circumstances, and of course, you don't want people, especially in a vulnerable position, to be abused. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with this, but again, it's not for me. It's not okay. No sex work whatsoever. That's out of the question.
No. I would back you up where that statement is concerned. Just we might make a joke or two, but we're not taking this particular subject any lightly in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. And at the end of the day, it is human beings, it's fellow human beings that you're talking about. So everybody deserves, respect, empathy, decency, all of that, and then some. I think that we've killed every boner that has been watching us so far.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. Guys, we're gonna re-up, and we will be right back.
Ask for the Blood and Sand at your favorite bar.
Back again. Back again and re-upped and all of that. And the gin and tonic flows like water today. So thank you, Denise.
Thank you, United Distributors.
Yeah, toch? Hey, yeah, man. Buy their stuff. That's all I could say.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. Hey, dude, we was into something that last segment, and if with your permission, because consent is king.
Queen.
Is non-binary
royalty. Yes.
There we go. No,
I'm going to put that on a shirt. Consent is non-binary royalty. You know how
that's
many
a
shirts?
shirt. No, but I have them saved. Trust you me. I have them saved. I've written on every one. I have your first one designed, but I don't know who to go to get it done. But I swear to God, it's covered. But all right, yes. But we was talking about the situation about opening Campo again, and how our government would want to approach it, and how at least they're signaling to try to approach it and whatnot. Now, in the last segment, we spoke a bit about as much as we could about at least the difficulties and even starting to work that out, like starting to see that. So hopefully that sparks a conversation. Links in the comment, or leave a comment below, guys. Sorry, but you touched on
That
something.
chin hitting your heart, no?
But yeah.
All right.
No, but there was something that you touched upon that struck a nerve with me, and it's got me real annoyed. The fact that they had to fly in foreign girls because local girls, quote unquote, and this is back in the 50s or whatever, local girls were seen as unkempt and not pretty and unhygienic and all that nonsense, right? The amount of disrespect that is in such a thought. Let me use this set of girls because I don't want to use that set of girls, basically. Like, they got my dick hard, so let me use them. So let me not use. I will not grace my dick upon these girls here, but I'll grace my dick upon these girls. That to me is just wild. Like is wild beyond wild beyond wild. And
Wait. Okay, I'm gonna hijack your thing.
go right ahead.
Because you say it's wild, but you and I got into a little tiff yesterday. Was it yesterday? Oh, you don't even. He doesn't even know. No, Mardo was discussing with somebody what constitutes. I even hate to say the phrase, but what constitutes good pussy?
Good.
And now you have the audacity. No, shush. Let me make my point.
Go right ahead.
Now you have the audacity to say, well, that's like saying that you can grace a certain type of girl with your dick, quote unquote.
Right.
And not,
Right.
That was disrespectful. Maar how don't you see dat saying what constitutes good pussy is eigenlijk op dezelfde lijn als dat? How is your statement of yesterday different than this colonial statement of 1950s?
It was too peaceful in the cloister, Dread. It was too peaceful. I was waiting for a good time. All right. Let me start by saying this, right? I think those two ideas are apples and oranges. They're both fruit, but not quite the same. The reason being is this, right? When I brought to you the joke that was going around with me, and I freely admit I was the purveyor of that joke because it came to me, and so I spread it around.
And you thought it was a good idea to share it with me?
Yes, because, okay, so good pussy as a term, right. I see the chauvinistic roots of it.
Thank you.
Right. And it implies that pussy is property instead of being attached to a whole human being. I get that. But it's also shorthand for just good sex because you can say good dick too.
Nay. Because that's why I had a problem. And
You had a problem with it.
In the beginning, you were maybe not. Let me sit for this, no?
Yeah, no.
That you were not understanding me because I was offended eigenlijk by the phrase what constitutes a good pussy. Want inderdaad, what you say, it implies I was like, but to the pussy is attached to a human,
right?
And usually, or in my scene and the people I know,
right,
we're looking at the person first. We're interacting with the person first. Mm-hmm. We're liking the person first, or thinking the person is okay first, right, before you get to the pussy part.
Okay.
So het is persoon eerst, pussy ten tweede. Dat was 1 punt.
Dat is 1 punt.
So I find it very denigrating that you say, yeah, what constitutes... Nee. Tweede punt, second point, is if you say what constitutes good pussy, that implies that there is such a thing as bad pussy.
There is.
And no, I don't agree. All pussy is good. Like all vaginas.
Say it. Say the camera. Say the camera.
All vaginas, all vulvas can be there, are there, and there is an enormous variation. Right. And why would one be better than the next? It's just different.
Okay,
they're
all right,
different.
but then, okay, but if you would allow me, right, to your first point, and I freely admit, but you can't exactly give signifiers and caveats when a hot joke is passing, because it was just a joke. It was just a hot thing, just to app. Hey, yo, what do you think about this? You know what I mean? But obviously, for me at least, and apparently that I have to do this every time, and I'm not knocking you, but this is the world that we live in. My signifier is that I agree with you. I find that you need to be attracted to the person first. consent is king. It has to be consensual. It has to be all these things.
Non-binary royalty. Yes.
Right. But all these things have to be there first. That you meet a person, you like a person, you start to interact with a person, you share with a person, you get more and more intimate with the person. And be it for romance, for forever after, for a one night, for whatever. But in that moment, you bond, you say, all right, you know what? I like you like me, we're here, let's go. Right? That for me is within that shorthand that we've gotten to this place by this. I don't imply that by rape, for example. I don't imply that by extortion or by whatever have you. I'm thinking, or like for me to have spoken about that or to speak about that, we've already gone through all these things. Like these things are supposed, in my view. But you are right. Other people might take it the wrong way.
Because you say you wanted to discuss it, then
Right.
we could have a discussion, and you said it in the beginning, and that was what I was initially thinking. We could have a discussion about
Right.
sex, what constitutes good sex, or a good sexual partner or something.
Right.
But like to
No,
boil
but-
it down to the
No,
to
but
the
but
sex
but here's the
organs.
thing though. But listen, but wait. And something that to me also goes to the whole thing of brothel, sex work, all of this, right? Like at least what I do, you speak provocatively to get more hype or energy or passion, good or bad, forte or whatever. But you get a rise out of people. You speak in a particular way. You don't say, so what do you think is like the characteristics of a good sexual partner?
Why
no,
not?
no, because it is open, like it's a little bit clinical and dry.
But
Like-
life
like-
is clinical and dry, and if you speak
Where
the way
is life
no, but
clini-
if you speak the way you speak, or how you spoke, or how your friend spoke, or how the joke goes,
Right.
I think that is onder andere the problem of bijvoorbeeld that we have with toxic masculinity, that we have with Me Too, that we have with all these
Right,
things.
that the language allows for these things to breathe.
yeah, and for you it might be a joke, but as
Right.
you noticed yesterday, I didn't take it as a joke. I
No,
took it as
but-
offense. So you might think it's a joke, but the next young boy think that's the way it goes. And I
Right.
was thinking like, especially as a father, not of a girl, as a father of a son, why would you say things like that? Why would you say
No, but wait a minute, but hold on. But that's where I come back to it again. My supposition is all of this, we've gotten to this point through the good practices. We have gotten to
which good practices? Hashtag Me Too.
good practices of you don't just rape or whatnot. You
But
have
that's
to be
you. That
consensual.
is
You have to
and-
be.
But that's
There is
you.
a human being attached to it. You have to have it in the back of your
you.
mind.
And I think as we speak, I think we should also speak purposefully, and we should interpret. We should be mindful of how others might interpret how you speak, especially if we're on a okay, this was you with your friend. I don't know how your friend is, but some of those dudes, girls also, can be very creepy and can take things a little bit too seriously. So I mean, there's power
No,
to
but-
words.
but-
To me,
but,
there's power to words. Dus
wait.
waarom? You say, yeah, there's all this caveat and everybody knows and we're la la la.
No,
Maar nee,
I'm not
dat is-
saying that everybody knows. I'm saying in my head, when I say the thing, my supposition is that we're on the same playing field. So and I freely admit that that's my fault. Like I will easily assume that we're all thinking I do not look to another person and think creep. I think, okay, if I'm interacting with anybody on a discussion or whatever where these type of things are concerned, I'm almost of the feeling that there might be variations here and there, little tweaks and so, but we all have a baseline of human rights is an absolute necessity, so, and you build from
I
there.
think that's very, very broad. I know enough people who do not think.
And that,
That
but
specific-
that's where this whole brothel thing gets weird too, like as well, because how do you respect a lot of what is ideal in Western society and open that back up, unless you have free agents, independent contractors that are free of their own volition that come there. That was my initial question from since in the first one. Like, how do you open that? How do you go about that without doing harm? You are going to do harm because all right, let's give a rough joke then. A rough joke. Um, we have to pay road tax, and in paying road tax, we get the ability to get like like our license plates ratified with the thing that you got to stick in like
The
your
window.
windshield, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Those didn't come till what February. Every year with a tick of the clock, we know that these things have got to come. COVID, fine, but we know these things have to happen. I can't depend on my government to deliver me the little sticker that shows that I've paid my taxes on time. Can I depend on that same government to make sure that the highest level of human rights and human decency and whatnot are being controlled and upheld when it comes to the most vulnerable, some of the most vulnerable people on the planet? Can I depend on them for that when I can't depend on them just to give me a sticker on time, just to fix a traffic light on time? You understand what I mean? That is my disconnect right now. Like when I hear this thing, like, can this happen under good auspices? And I don't think it can.
No, maar now we're going off of the topic.
Right. No. Sorry,
Maar
sorry.
if you doubt, if you
Sorry.
cannot trust the government, then how can you trust that everybody will interpret your joke as a joke?
No, but and I just said my apologies. My apologies where that one is concerned. But I do wonder, and not but as in like I freely admit I'm wrong. Okay, cool. So my question then becomes, what happens to language and what happens to certain things where there's a certain spice in life? Like, what can I describe spicily and what can't I describe? Like where like fine, I'm wrong. Where are my lines then? Where are my things to?
But why
discuss
would
or
you
whatnot?
describe it like that? Like why, if you're talking
Because
to a
that's-
woman vooral, why? Like why?
Because
Why?
because women have also gone in with that joke to like as well. I'm not. This is not a boys' club joke or whatnot. So no, I have the hell of a mix of like inner circle folks or whatnot that I go back with. You're not the only one. You're one of the chief ones, but you're not the only one. And of all walks of life, and I could tell you that from the majority of my circle that I've put this in front of, about 9 of them, the different other people. Some of them like answer, like they got past the crassness of how I explained it, and they went straight into what the high-mindedness of it could be. Like for example, the one of the chief answers that I got from that is that the sex is good if everybody's into it and there's a certain amount of drive. Like it's not
Yeah,
just
but that is. I get that the ladies
Right.
are want
No,
to.
but hold on,
dingus.
but hold on,
No,
but hold
maar
on.
kijk, the discussion is fundamental anders. It's fundamentally different. If
Then?
we're gonna say what is good sex, what's a good sex partner? Yeah, then I'm all. I can give you my opinion.
But
it's off-putting.
but for the language and for the slang that I know, slang especially, for the slang that I know, that is partly hip hop, partly America, partly nerd.
Rape culture.
I mean, we're inundated with it now, aren't we? Like, where's your chant from way back when? Down with the patriarchy. That's across the board now, isn't it?
See,
So
for sure.
so fine. So it's not just like one. Like I say what I said, but then you say rape culture. Like it's all rape culture. It's all rape culture.
Because
it's all rape
because
culture.
it's all rape culture, it's okay.
No,
to
I'm not
speak that
saying
way.
No, mama. No, I freely admit again. Like you're knocking my head in for the same point. I would like to get to the point of how come I speak like that, or
Yeah, but
what
how
do we do
come-
going
how come you
forward?
speak like that is inderdaad patriarchy, rape culture, toxic masculinity.
Okay, so then
and then
what
you're
is-
telling me no, but where is the boundary with spiciness?
I would like to know where the bound. Like I would like to know for every like there are a lot of guys that mean well. There are a lot of guys that mean well that do not want to upset the apple cart, that want to do right for their women around them. I damn sure count myself as that. But and I'm not saying you, because me and you know like each other like a lot stronger than this. But a lot of times this happens. Somebody makes a mistake, somebody corrects, and then it stays here. I'm all about, okay, step 2, step 3, step 4. I give my penance. I give my sorry. What after that? What is the rehabilitation? What does it look like? Do you have an idea? Can you admit maybe too that you're not quite sure what it looks like as well? Or the
No.
only thing that you know is that, oh, that I'm offended. And
Nee.
again, I'm not saying you, Denise. I'm saying the corner that you come from.
Nee,
You understand what I
nee.
mean?
Nee, because yeah, you say yeah, but I said I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry, but then you keep making points dat ik denk no, but then you don't understand it, and then you say okay, what is the boundary, and is there anything, because the guys are well-meaning but they just say this shit. The thing is, you should not objectify others. You should just not objectify others. So if you gewoon period. So that that is the boundary.
Have you ever objectified like anybody?
Of course you do.
Do you do that?
Of course I did.
Have you caught yourself lately doing that?
Lately, I cannot remember, but maybe, probably.
Maybe. Okay. And I'm not trying to set you up for anything. I'm trying to just show that it could be something that is around the corner for everybody.
It is around the corner for everybody.
Like it's ingebakken. It is ingebakken. And for me, is like, okay, you signal what? Again, I don't mind the signaling. I prefer the signaling. Fine. I will take my licks on camera. Cool. But what I question then, or what I want, not in a technical way, but genuinely to go forward in a particular way, like a whatnot. What's the next step? The only thing that we have done right now is to call out and to be kind of punitive, is what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the look instead of this or.
Maar kijk, nee. But I think that is een beetje, you're not seeing, so what then? And then I should give you the answer.
But you're the one that stopped me.
Ja, nee, maar luister. I'm telling you, you're crossing a boundary. So what I find the answer is, just speak respectfully next time. Just think about what is it that you want to say? To who are you saying it? And what is your point by saying it? Als je daar gewoon, I think if you start thinking about that, dan ga je heel anders praten. En you're gonna say, yeah, but these are these sour women, or these sour woke people, or these sour feminists. Maar there is a place and time for everything. And you keep saying it was a joke, and all my female friends, 9 of your friends understood it. But how you posed it to me, it was not a joke. You just sent me the question, what constitutes good pussy?
Right.
Je hebt helemaal... It was not a joke. Het was gewoon een statement. Dus het is niet eens voor mij een context...
Actually, it was a question, but it wasn't...
Oké, a question, inderdaad. Het was een question. Maar dat is voor mij geen grap. Hoe is dat een grap? And I got upset and they said, no, it was a joke. So I thought that was a cop-out. Maar dan zeg je nu, yeah, but you're penalizing people and er is geen follow-up. De follow-up is... Denk na over wat je praat. Okay. En denk na over wat is het effect dat je wilt en dat je veroorzaakt. Okay. En waarom moeten bepaalde dingen op bepaalde manieren gezegd worden? Wat wil je ermee bereiken? Okay. I mean, I think it's gewoon een vorm van respect. And then you can say, yeah, but what is respect? Respect is relative, this, that, and the other. I talked about the mother or the grandmother rule. I don't know in which episode. Apply the mother-grandmother rule. The grandmother rule. Would you talk like that to your grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I
Okay, wait, no. In your case, it is like the mother-in-law rule.
I would.
Would you ask your mother-in-law what constitutes good pussy? Je liegt dat je barst.
No.
Je liegt dat je barst. Je zou het anders formuleren.
No. I honestly would not. If I'm king for a day, or non-binary royalty for a day, jeez. If I had my way, there would be no lock on language. There would be no lock on language, because to me, it's not language, it's intent.
Nee, wacht, time out.
Okay, Jesus Christ, you just went a mile a minute. Normally, I'm like I'm the one that gotta be reined in, man. No, look, I don't. Okay, let me bring another hot one then, so that you can understand like I'm at. I have no problem with the word nigger, anything. Even if the most racist white man say it, like David Duke say it, I have no problem with it. I have no problem with language. I have problem with the intent behind it. I have problem like Jay-Z calling me, yo, nigga, what's going on?
Wacht
As
even.
opposed
Nee,
to-
ja, maar je zegt je hebt
as
geen probleem bij
opposed to-
David Duke.
As opposed to like David Duke, who has proven himself to be adversarial at best, right? And he uses the word towards me. Again, you could use the word, but when you action the word behind it is when I have a problem. I don't necessarily think that language is or of itself a problem. While I do agree with you, I am of the school of you think in language, and language forms like the basis of thought, right? So if you think of something kind of disrespectfully and you go about something kind of disrespectfully, then yes, your language will reflect that and it will reinforce that and it will like turn into like a bit of a feedback loop. But that being said, while language in and of itself, can offend or can this and can that, it also lets me know, like, me and you do not get to this conversation if I was not free with my language. If I was a dirty ass creep or whatever, I might still be, who knows. But if I was hiding my intent behind language, if I was hiding my intent because I know what words to say and how to say them and whatnot, and that I have a playbook quicker than I have like the intent to do well, then all of a sudden you don't know that you have a creep amongst you, or you don't know within the circle that there's a creep that is amongst you. Me speaking freely, openly, and even like you said, like, don't say this in front of your grandma, fine. But under the most of circumstances, I would want to say anything to anybody at any time and have it be a discussion. Now, I agree with you. Me saying it does not mean me free from consequence. Grandma, mother-in-law, everybody would probably kick me out the fucking house. And that would be that. And that would be it. You check what I mean? But the whole point of being kicked out of the house in the first place is because they have a particular norm and varda that they deal with. And so thusly me speaking in that fashion would bring more trouble than it's worth. But you asked me, would I speak if I had the chance?
Nee. Dat was niet if you had a chance. I said, would you speak like that? En dan ga je, if I was king for a day.
If I was king for a day, yes.
If I was king for a day, and if I would. Maar ik vraag me af voor nu, want you're questioning, you're posing your question now, and you're not king for a day. Right now, you are looking.
I would like to believe that I would start. This is one where you are not gonna get me to move because I feel like I would do that.
Nee, you would. Maar nu, you will not go home right now and talk to your mother-in-law this way. You will not, Marlo. Dat geloof ik voor geen seconde.
Okay.
Geloof ik geen voor. And I have a very big problem with you saying like, it's not the language, it's the intent. Maar zo werkt de wereld niet. I cannot know what your intent is. Het gaat om het effect. Because this is exactly why racism, in your opinion, is done okay. This is exactly why Zwarte Piet is geen racisme. In the whole Zwarte Piet the discussion, everybody always says, yeah, but we mean no harm. We gaan lekker idioot doen. We gaan jullie lekker belachelijk maken. Kleine kindjes gaan huilen because it's very traumatic to them.
Language.
En dan zeg je, we don't mean no harm. It is all fun and games. Zelfde.
But wait a minute,
David Duke gaat zeggen van, oh yo, my nigger. Je favoriete.
But wait a minute, but hold on. No. But then you gone way too far there. You gone way too far.
No,
because no. Because let me show you. Zwarte Piet, you have to action it. You have to action Zwarte Piet. If Zwarte Piet is just words and a thought and one on the soul, then that is something. But you have all of history to prove where the actions of denigrerendheid, of disrespect, and all those things came from. David Duke might say, hey, my nigga, like, or whatever, but you are part of an organization that has historically lynched, burned, done all the things. So to say that you don't mean it, that's some bullshit, because action in the past has shown that.
Maar wacht even, maar wat is dan de difference?
So wait a minute, but no, on your same with that same energy, you could look to me and say that, oh, yeah, that offends me because you are offensive or whatnot or so, with your intent and with whatever, with that same like energy. I not to hide behind like anything like I wanted to say, but you take the entirety of my past and my actions. I wanted to say, I ain't gonna say that I'm perfect. Definitely hit a lot of mistakes in my past, but to say that I'm not here willing to have the conversation, or that I'm not doing this or that whatnot, this is like a little rough to
Dus
like as well.
basically moet ik gewoon...
No, but it's not. But it's not black and white either.
Maar nee,
I'm not
what I'm
advocating
hearing you
for
say,
that.
what I'm hearing you say, is because you've been a choir boy all your life.
No, did I
that-
not just say that
Nee,
I was
maar
a choir boy?
nee, maar you say you're not a choir boy. Maar because
Did I not
no,
just say
because
that?
I know your history, then I should condone
No.
something that's offensive.
No, madam. No, madam. No, madam. By all means, you have the right to speak just like how I do as well. And if I am free of speech, I'm not free of consequence. So if I say something, it offended, you correct, fine. To me, we're at a sweet point right now, a learning moment, a teachable moment, that both you and I working it out on camera right now, that we could do something for the greater conversation of all this. Because again, I come back to it, like, there is a lot of bird dogging right now. There is a lot of, like, the whole Me Too has come and went damn near, like, at this point, right? Like, it has come somewhat of a cliche, or like a bad joke, like, or whatever, when it should not be, because again, there are human lives that are attached to all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I never hear, and not for cynicism, is not for whatever, I genuinely want to hear more, is what happens after. What happens after the cancellation? What happens after the being ostracized? What happens after having my socks being pulled up? You tell me, okay, I don't know what it looks like, but I know this is bad. Okay, that's a start. But
nee, wacht even. Ik heb niet gezegd, I don't know what it looks like. Als je deze clip terugspoelt, if you rewind it,
Right.
I gave 4 or 5 questions that you need to ask.
Right.
En inderdaad, in the case of Me Too en echt sexual harassment, sexual abuse, grensoverschrijdend seksueel gedrag, however you want to term it, I think... and you are like, what about the cancellation and the dit and the dat?
No, but that is where
usually, because Me Too, as it is portrayed in the media, usually is about powerful men. These powerful men, they will lick their wounds and they will continue on their merry way. Zij verliezen echt niet. After the cancellation, there is no cancellation. The cancellation is temporary. Maar wat moet er gebeuren? You want to know what the perpetrators need to do?
Not just what the perpetrators need to do, but again, what is okay? So within spheres of liberalism, feminism, whatever have you, right? How is the conversation being forward there? Like, what is the prevailing thought, anecdotal thought?
But I don't understand why you're saying this, because
I am genuinely curious. I'm not part of those conversations. That's part of the problem.
Nee.
Or I'm not privy to hear.
But what are we doing? Kijk, mijn punt is, vertoon dat grensoverschrijdend gedrag niet. Doe geen bullshit dingen. Treat people with respect. En dan zeg ik, ja, but I don't hear... Wacht. Jij zegt, I don't hear what the solution is. I don't hear what is the next step. The next step is that you do not portray that harmful behavior. You're not gonna abuse women or whoever. You're not gonna abuse others. You're not gonna denigrate others. Okay. You're not gonna do those things. En jij wil weten, hoe moet je dat doen? Hoe doe je dat? So elke keer when people say these bullshit things, do these bullshit things, we point it out. We say this is not acceptable, so that people know this is not acceptable and what is not acceptable. En dan ga je zeggen, ja, for we is it not acceptable. When you're harming someone else, that is just not acceptable. Jouw grens is where you start harming maybe not, harming someone else.
I think they're both the same thing.
And
harm and hurt is both the same thing.
Okay, maybe. Maar het gaat erom that I don't understand why you say, yeah, but what is the next step? The next step is that the person offending, the person doing harm, or the person hurting someone else needs to correct his own behavior, his own language, his own thought. And we can only tell you, this is not acceptable. Dus, kijk, hoe stop je iemand van
take your time.
Yeah, no, I want to come up with a good example. But like, how do you teach a kid right from wrong? How do you teach the kid right from wrong? You have kids. How do you teach a 2-year-old or 3-year-old right from wrong? Hoe doe je dat?
You do as best as you can to be the example, and you do as best as you can to explain. Where explanation fails, repetition and example basically takes place.
And then you ask me, why am I not hearing the follow-up step? But this is it.
But no, but let's be honest and clear, Denise. You're willing to knock it out for all kinds of reasons. That is definitely where your principles lie. But your very nature goes to the next step to like as well. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking you. Me and you are having a conversation right here, right now, but I'm not knocking you. I'm telling you that we've bumped up into something that is in at least the Western cultural zeitgeist as well as to what does it look like. For example, I will never use the word pussy in front of you again. Even under like a clinical term.
No,
but
nee,
do you know why?
Do you know why? Daar gaat het niet om.
Do you know why? Because I don't know if where in that word is the problem.
And how I describe the word, Marlo. We hebben een conversation van 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're hung up on the word.
I'm not hung up on the. Oh my goodness, I'm not hung up on the word. But
you're not gonna use it in front of me ever again.
Yeah, because that was a part of the matrix of the thing, and I will probably not ever bring up, jokey sexual things with you like either. Because now
you make me seem like a prude.
No, I'm not. No. I am not subtle enough to weave through that and know where the landmines are. So
Marlo.
I am very much of a, this whole area dangerous. Back off.
Nee, maar ik vind nu doe je echt wel een beetje oneerlijk.
Hoezo doe ik oneerlijk?
I find you're being unfair.
How so?
Because you're saying, and that was the premise the whole time, it is a joke.
Sowieso.
Nee, wacht, laat me even uitspreken. It is a joke. You cannot take a joke. I will not make any sexual jokes ever again around you. But, like I said before, how you posed it to me, it was not a joke. You posed gewoon a question. What is dit? And the way you phrased it, en dan ga je nu weer zeggen, yeah, but I apologized 500 times. And this is why I keep coming back to this point, because I think what is being lost here is that I found the way it was phrased denigrating. I said why, the reasons why.
And you pussy said, was a part of the phrase, toch?
Ja, maar gewoon nee. Pussy is a part of the phrase, maar pussy is not my favorite word, maar it is not the word that I take offense with. It is what constitutes good pussy. En ik zei, het gaat om 2 dingen. Omdat jij praat, jullie mannen, you and whoever it was, are looking not at the person, this is so male-centric, so patriarchal, so sexist. You're just looking at the sexual organ. Dus het gaat, had je het gezegd, had je een ander woord genoemd, not pussy, you would have said vagina, weet ik veel.
Do you know?
Then it would have still been, because it's, voor mij, het gaat niet, you're just looking at an element of a much greater thing. 1, and 2, what we didn't touched upon is that you imply that there is bad pussy.
But there
and
is.
You said there is.
There is. Have you?
Okay.
Just, hey. Without having it be to thing, and if you're willing to answer this question, have you ever had bad sex?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was not purely because of the sexual organ.
No, but that's kind of the... See, and that's where the disconnect to me is where, and I freely admit, I made that mistake because I figured that you and I were speaking the same language. When I say good pussy, and as is, if I have to give it a definition from where it came from so that I brought it to your doorstep, right? It is shorthand for good sex with a person.
But I understand that.
That is all it is.
But I understand. I think we're gonna round this off
because I'm making her
because I understand that is the whole thing. But you chose specifically for these combination of words. Je hebt niet gezegd what makes great sex, what constitutes good sex. Dus we're talking on different levels.
Sowieso, but that's kind of my point. Like for me, in doing the autopsy of this particular line, apparently, Jesus Christ, what a line. For me, the crassness and the suddenness of what it was automatically makes it absurd. That for me, that was already my thinking.
How can you say that? Oh, because I should know your history. Because I want to say
like that for me makes it absurd. Like
wacht even. How is it absurd if nowadays there is still gender? We live vanaf the beginning of time up to now in a period of misschien niet the beginning of time, but in a period of women being lesser than men, women having less rights, all kind of thing. Dus dan hoe kan je dan dat
because in
zeggen
that
dat
same,
het absurd is? Because what is absurd to you is still reality.
Okay, but in that same vein, but you
absurd.
see, but this is where too that again, I'm willing to give up a blind spot. Like in that same vein, good dick is also a term that is
but you didn't say good dick, and I have the same objection to the phrase
not to me because
good
I
dick.
was just going ahead with where the conversation started for me, like 3 people back. My whole thing is that while it is objectifying, I give you that, but the absurdity of the objectifying in my circles, and for the people that you know, they don't move like that, they don't think like that. I
don't know.
But are you not a part of a culture that also has problematic sayings and whatnot? And so, Makamba is a real big one, like in my word. Like I use the word freely because it really does encapsulate.
But why do you? If it's so problematic, why do you use it? I don't use it
because I come back to the thing.
I don't use the N-word either, and I don't like it. I
am on the other side of that. I am very much a libertarian when it comes to language. You can use any language that you want. You just got to be willing to bear the consequences. Okay. I'm willing to bear mine now. I'm here right now. Again, I'm on camera. I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to do nothing. You're going to stay there. You check one, man. But in that same vein, in standing for language, I don't see bad language. I genuinely do not see bad language.
So, belediging bestaat niet?
Belediging bestaat, no.
No, but you keep going back to
bad
intent.
Language, bad language.
Intent
listen.
You can objectify or quantify or prove intent. You cannot prove intent. Dus waar trek je de lijn?
How can you not prove intent, counselor? There's a whole stelsel with strafrecht and whatnot that is built around proven intent.
Yeah, but you
so you can prove intent. Human history has proven intent, and with patterns and with patterns, with being able to deduce certain things given the right circumstances, you can prove what a person has done because of action. Time being finite, people being people, what you give your actions to, what you give your time to, is what you find important. And in finding it important, that's your intent.
Maar dat, I understand you.
So,
but nee, maar wacht even. But for that, you need to know the person, or it needs to be a public figure who has a public track record. You cannot know
but
of
do you
everybody.
Not know me?
Meh. And you say a lot of things op het randje. And sometimes you have things that I'm like,
but here's the thing.
And in this case, I was really not.
You wasn't having it.
I was really not thinking, oh, Marlo in the past, well, he's proven to not be a feminist.
He has given his time
for me, it was not clear that because of all the myriad of things that you think or you do, and in this talk still, I still feel you don't get it. We're not communicating. You're talking here, I'm talking here.
I get it. The thing you want to say is, I'm not so sure if I agree with you. There's a difference.
You don't know. Sowieso you do not agree. Sowieso.
That, like, I'm not so sure if I agree with you. And but in not agreeing, I still have to respect your boundaries. And hence me saying, let me, back up a step and not disrespect that particular boundary. Now, we're talking about the nuts and bolts of the thing, but besides it being disrespectful, as you say, you haven't gotten to the meat of why beyond it there's a whole human being attached to it. There are other things that are spoken in life too as well, in shorthand, for a lot of things, man.
Maar dat is steeds jouw argument. You steeds say, there are a lot of things.
But
but
it's
people
not
also
an argument.
talk about
It's not an argument.
Dick.
Listen, it's not an argument so much as context. I'm not arguing against it.
But you didn't give me no context for this specific.
I did not, and hence me saying, I'm sorry. I figured that use that word again. The audacity of it, plus our friendship, plus knowing me, would figure into, he's just being dumb again. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a dumb, or he's saying something dumb to get a rise, and then so thusly, this is where the conversation starts.
I think, en precies dat.
You know what
I think dat is precies the root, one of the root causes of Me Too, bijvoorbeeld.
Right.
Because you have these. Let's go back to the classic example. You have these bosses, a high level persons in your company,
right,
who always say inappropriate things, of a sexual nature.
Right.
Let's say the old boss says it to a young female coworker. Inappropriate things.
Right.
En dan is het precies hetzelfde wat jij zegt.
Right.
Oh, but I know he's kidding. Like exactly the thing that you just said. Okay, he's kidding. He's this, he's that. He's
do I have a machtspositie over you?
In this geval, well, it's your podcast.
No, dude. Because it was not in the context of the podcast that I sang you the damn thing. Be honest about that.
Fine, okay.
Be honest about that.
Okay.
It was two friends talking.
Okay, fine. Okay.
All right.
Okay, geen exempel van de director.
Right.
Maar a lot of ladies in ieder geval,
right,
I know, can relate to this creepy dude that you know.
Right.
He's always making these inappropriate
Am
things.
I a creep?
No, you're not a creep.
Just flat out. Am I a creep? And it's not
creepish.
me trying to. I'm not trying to build a case here. Like, I'm trying to self-correct.
Yeah.
Am I a creep? Yes or no?
Over het algemeen niet.
Over het algemeen niet. I have creepy tendencies.
But as you get older, they get less. maar I'm serious. We're saying it in fun, but no, but I'm serious.
No, but I am serious too, because me personally, my uitgangspunt, and I'll be honest, and this is a real heart openbaring. This is me basically speaking the truth here, right? I am always wanting to either be the life of the party or to be close to it. That there's action, there's livelihood, there's good conversation, there's all of that going on. Mm-hmm. I can't depend on others to do it, so I usually take it upon myself to be wacky. Let's just say it like that, right? Okay. I do that for myself. I met you in that category. I very much met you in that category. But the older to bring it back to what you were just saying, the older I get, the less I want to do that. I'm more chill these days. I'm more
to me,
like I would prefer just to have a quiet moment, a cup of tea, a good friend, and call it George.
But to me, seriously, when we just met,
right,
when you were meeting friends of mine, I felt gewoon that I had to warn them van tevoren about. Nee, echt. And I did it. I had to warn people van tevoren about how you are. Right. And this now you're saying you took the role of wacky whatever.
Right.
But sometimes people found it a little bit too much, uncomfortable, and sometimes you would go a little far on the inappropriate side
Right.
to people's taste, and
Right.
I felt I had to warn people.
Explain me.
Explain
Yeah.
you. And
No, but
now it's getting less.
no, but here's the thing though, because it's the opposite way too with me too as well. I have to explain you to some folks.
Yeah, I know. I have to
You
explain
understand what
myself
I mean?
to
Like,
folks.
I
No.
feel like I had to do this and that, whatever. But here's what I find a little bit interesting, and I'll whine on this point. Whine on this point.
Okay.
Everybody sees me when I'm making dick and pussy jokes all the time, but nobody's there when I am ruminating on consciousness or quantum physics or the role of man in the fucking universe or none of that shit.
Maar waarom
No-
is dat? Waarom is dat? Because in being that you've created, in my opinion, and how I observe you, you created a persona of yourself that in party people want to talk about dick and pussy. En ik kan je vertellen, het is echt veel minder dan je denkt dat mensen erover willen praten, dat ze erover willen praten. So you gave yourself a persona of this wacky, jolige, I have no shame, I'll talk about... Yeah, Google it. funny, gezellig. I have no shame, I'll talk about anything. I'm fierce I'm a joker type of character. Dat is wat jij graag laat zien.
Yeah.
Dus you cannot complain with all due respect. And you're not complaining, but I feel you cannot... Say
I didn't
no,
say
but
that I'm
nobody
whining.
sees me when I'm being scholarly.
I gave the caveat up front, right? I said it's whining. I'm minging.
I know, but
I am minging right now.
Maar
you know what I mean?
I think that's not fair.
No, but
And
life is not fair, man. Like,
klopt.
as a result, life is
And
not
that
fair.
was seriously a point that this is like a therapy session, y'all. And I was seriously thinking about that also this morning. Kijk, dus now you're saying, yeah, you're scholarly. And of Naya, that was not your word. That was not your word.
Marlo Brown did not say under no circumstance that I'm scholarly, y'all. Fuck that.
That was not his word. Maar I find it. I know people are super versatile, and people are not one thing. Nothing is black or white.
Of course not.
Gray heeft 50,000 shades. All that.
Let me not talk about that, please, because then we're bringing it back to dick and pussy again, and we're not doing that.
But and that is something that we as a society need to grow and need to develop. I think it's often very difficult to say that you're sophisticated, and on the other hand, use language that is deemed to be ordinary.
But wait. No, but you see, but that was okay.
Yeah.
Because if we're giving them a cake into what we're doing and whatnot, so somewhere down the line in the texting, you use that word, and I found that both like ambitious and also interesting, because we talk about the patriarchy, we talk about the colonialism and all of that thing, but who have set the rules as to what these things are like ordinaire, what's appropriate, what's not, and like half of the taboos that we got, the whole reason that we're talking about this in the first place was because of a brothel, because sex is taboo and it's wrong and it's this and it's that and whatnot, unless under very specific circumstances. And part of the reason that got perpetuated, not trying to get up on a soapbox here, but that is also part of my raison d'etre, like as well. Like, because you can't talk about it, it never gets spoken about, and so it never gets kind of resolved.
Kijk, nee, because you say, okay, who determines what is ordinaire?
Who determines what is...
You yourself said it a couple of times in this segment, crass. You use crass language.
I use crass, but where do we get crass from?
Crass gaat naar ordinair, maar waarom is het ordinair of waarom is het crass? Because you use language specifically created to talk about the female reproductive organ in a objectified, in a sexualized, I'm gonna use that for my own pleasure way. Je gebruikt niet gewoon het woord vagina of gewoon een woord die niet, because that is specific language, specific sexist language. Er zijn vrouwen die het zelf gebruiken and they reclaimed it just as you use the N-word with pride. Het gaat om de where the word came from and where
but
the word...
But wait a minute, but I have a couple of questions then.
All right.
The first one being the follow-up on the previous question. You've had bad sex, right? Have you ever had sex where you were very selfish?
Yeah.
Very selfish,
Yeah.
right? So that exists within the human scope of understanding, right or wrong?
Yeah.
Because you can agree with me that at least exists, right? The problem that I have with let's call it Jesus, the problem that I have with a lot of the movement towards getting correct, I won't say politically correct, I'll just say correct, is that there is like there seems to be a wanting to let go of or ignore that life and humans and human thought is also messy, and there's a righteousness in that messiness as well. When you talk about ordinaire and whatnot, and so I'm pretty sure I can point to Victorian age England and those morals and those values that got brought down because of English empire over the Western world as to what constitutes ordinaire, crass, whatnot, what language that was born out of that repression to kind of be free or to be rebel or thumb in the eye or root in the eight or whatever have you. We can point to that, right? But my thing about all of this is that when you want to be correct, like what is the, hence me asking, what's the next step? When we want to be correct as according to who, how are we making our own rules? Is it our story, or is it a story that has been colored and been biased by what we hope to show off, but we maybe secretly hope to emulate this part but not that part? Like, what are the pieces that we're taking? What are the pieces that we're leaving as an anthropologist? All of that shit. That combined with one last thing, right? As I said in the beginning, I don't necessarily see some of the messier parts of life, anger, bad emotions, quote unquote bad emotions. You can have righteous anger, you can have a good horny, you can have a very much justified frustration, disappointment, sadness, depression. All of that shit is not evil, is not inherently morally evil. But some of the correctness, hear me say it again, some of the correctness veers towards that we need to push some, if not all of these things aside. I have to make sure that you're happy all the time, but that's not healthy either. You can be sad, you can be depressed, you can be horny, you can be...
It's totaal anders.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Crass and all of this lives somewhat in the same world. Not maybe they're in a country, maybe like the countries apart, but it's all part of the same goddamn thing that is a part of the quote unquote ugly part of life. And some parts of life that are ugly, quote unquote, does also need its own space.
Maar wacht. You're talking about the ugly part of life.
Right.
And it is there. It needs to be acknowledged.
Right.
But
you can be selfish. You can be... This is my thing. And again, I'm not knocking you in the head, because I know that you can't speak for a movement, just like how I can. So I can only speak for me, you can only speak for you, right? But I genuinely feel that a lot of the pushback towards Me Too, political correctness, liberalism, give it any fucking name that you want to, right? But all of that feeling of I'm being corrected on my behavior that I grew up with, or that was baked into me, or that was given to me, that was nurtured and whatnot and so, right? A lot of the pushback towards that comes from a fact of people feel like they're being told all the time that they're wrong.
Maar
that they're
kijk,
being told all the time.
Maar dat is wat jij zei. You said to learn, but it was in the kader van raising a child.
Right.
Repetition.
Right.
You learn through repetition, because apparently for some people, it's very difficult to see that things that are saying, things that are doing are not okay. And when is it not okay? When, what I already said, when you're harming someone else. When you're disrespecting someone else. En dan kan je zeggen, ja, maar de disrespect en dit. If you focus on intent...
Should there be no harm? Like, is our aim zero harm or as little harm as possible?
Minimize the harm. Because why would you want to intentionally harm someone? Why would you want to harm someone? Ik zeg niet dat het niet gebeurt. Ik zeg niet dat je het niet kan uitsluiten. Maar waarom zou een gedachtegang zijn? It's okay to harm someone else. If you want to harm yourself, go right ahead. Why should you harm someone else?
No, but man, you're gonna forgive me. Like I'm gonna
hope so.
I'm gonna go on like a bit of a tangent, right? You don't keep up with sports news and that type of thing.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So let me give you the long and short of it quick. UFC, ex-champion.
Football, right?
UFC is MMA, sweetheart.
Oh, sorry.
Mixed martial arts, but
United
this isn't
football. Okay.
No, but but mixed martial arts. Like this is important, right? One of their biggest stars, champions. He's now kind of retired or whatever. He found out that the crash that he brings his boy to, the boy got sexually assaulted hundreds of times apparently.
Okay.
Right. He followed the law first. And in following the law, the dude got arrested, and turns out it was a bigger thing and one and so. But in him getting arrested, he also got out. It was to be maybe, it was looking very much that the case is going to be thrown out, right? With strong circumstantial evidence, not just a kid pointing, yeah, he did it. No, strong circumstantial evidence. There was a reason that he got arrested in the first place, right? Man starts to walk. The dude's name, Cain Velasquez, he got mad and he tried to work to the courts. He tried to do the whole thing, got a gun, drove after the dude, shot after the dude, ended up hitting his stepfather instead of the dude himself. A messy and ugly fucking moment. But a lot of people see and actually can maybe not agree, but they definitely could sympathize with how Cain felt in that moment, which was an ugly thing that happened upon his doorstep. You say you don't want to intentionally do somebody any harm, or you can't think of that for me is a reason. That for me is a big fucking reason. Like I will not think straight at that point. If my family, if some of my people get harmed by some serious bullshit,
maar Marlo,
and you try to work...
Nu, ik snap je, ik hoor je.
No, but,
maar nee, nu zijn we, wat zeg je, apple en oranges aan het vergelijken. Want it is...
But you said no, but the reason that we're here is because you said you can't imagine intentionally harming a person.
Ja, kijk,
I say that I can.
Nee, kijk, no. In dit geval, yes, of course. Nee, maar kijk, dit is... Somebody harms you. En dan is de drang van vergelding. En dat is ook een van de basisbeginselen van bijvoorbeeld het strafrecht. You need, wat is vergelding? You need squaring out. Yeah, I don't know.
It needs to be fair. Like it needs to
level out.
Right. Like it needs to balance out.
You need to, well, dus dat is een heel bazaal menselijk instinct. But we're not, I did you no harm. Want we hadden het over het grensoverschrijdende gedrag, de verkeerde taal.
But I wasn't thinking that I'm doing you harm, and that's the thing. I genuinely did not think that this was a harmful.
That is me too.
Okay.
That is me too.
Okay.
All like 90% were convinced they were not doing nothing.
I would say some, but I wouldn't give it that much because some people know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I genuinely put it on the table. I didn't think that I was offending you like that.
No,
I genuinely, I honestly thought that we spoke the same language, and in speaking the same language, you would have picked up on the signifier, and in picking it up on the signifier, you'd be like, all right, so this is what that he means. I didn't get that it wasn't a signifier for you, and I didn't get that in it not being a signifier, just blank as is, it is very offensive. And so thusly, I'm here still, y'all. It's an hour gone. I take him a blues. I take him a blues.
But I think we should round off.
You sure? Because we got some more in us, you know. I see like 3 more rounds of you know, child.
I ain't done, but
You ain't done. We're not done. Trust
but-
me, the conversation gonna continue like after this.
But
yo.
I still think we could do a show about sexual, what's good sex or good, what are sexual partners, whatever.
Look, I will say this. Listen, I will say this, hands down, on camera, and I've said this to you 100 times, hyperbole. I've said this to you 100 times behind the camera. You and a couple others, only females, need to sit down, and it doesn't have to be through my platform. It doesn't have to be whatever, but more of that needs to happen. Not necessarily The View, because that is just gewoon, ja, klakkeloos een beetje praten over de politiek, but just given enough raakvlakken van the female point of view, young, old, successful, not successful, whatever have you, of what all this shit looks like, at least down here. Because the one thing you and I can agree on is that the patriarchy is real down here. It is very, very real. I will give you that, and thusly that's why I'm prostrating myself over the fucking coals to be beaten and whatnot, right? Y'all need to do something with that. Like, y'all need to do something with that. Not to is the onus is Jesus, because I can't speak on it. I would love to speak on it. I would love to have the conversation, but women seem to be the ones that, as you said, voices have been brought too low, never have been properly respected in the majority of modern Western history. Now is the time to me, with all of this being easy enough to put forward and whatnot. So why not have that conversation? I would love to host it on my platform. It doesn't have to be us, but I would love to see that conversation. I would love to see an intersection, a nexus of women, Caribbean women, Curacao women, talk about the trials of the day. And it doesn't have to necessarily be sex and the behavior like around that too. It could be work. It could be, role expectations. It could be all those things. I want to see that. I would pay money to fucking see that. And I'm not even bullshitting, because at the end of the day, we can't call you equal if we don't listen to your story. And we need to hear y'all's story. We need to hear y'all's story. Everybody does.
Now, yeah, I'm like, we're rounding off. Maar Marlo doet net alsof the stories are not out there, haven't been told. No, millennia.
No. Wait, who? Caribbean women, Curacao women, I would dare say it's a little less. I don't know how less, but I would dare say that it's a little less. That is one. And two, fine and well, but what harm can it be to put more?
Okay.
What harm can it be to put more?
Okay.
And what harm can it be to put more because some of these stories are from intellectuals. Some of these stories are in places, are in dusty tomes, in the middle of libraries that nobody will never go to. Why not throw it in the most populous, the most common denominator place that could be heard? I'm not saying that we got an audience. Lord knows, the 100 of y'all, I love y'all. Hi. But yeah, have a conversation out in the open where there's no judgment, or even if there is, there's like good, honest, intellectually honest discourse back and forth where you can say, all right, you know what? That one has a point. 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 Mm-hmm. Why not? So yeah. All right, guys, we're done. Fuck it. We're done. All right, we out.
All right, Marlo, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for your honesty. Thanks for this convo.
Thank you
too.
I feel some kind of way too. But
some kind of close to lovish.
Oh, she was being like sincere there, yo. Look at that. Aww.
I hope to see you guys next week.
Yeah, guys. We out.